Hey, it's Buck, just sitting in the car with Rosie. We just did some shopping, didn't we? Yes, we did. I wanted to make this video on things you should never say to a live sound mixer. You know, it's in some cases you can't approach the live sound mixer because they're barricaded. In other cases, with a lot of situations, you can actually go up to the live sound mixer and have a conversation, like in a club, small concert venue, that type of thing. But don't. Here's why. Okay, sound mixers are basically paid to mix. You don't know their level of experience. Well, you're just going to have to accept the fact that things sound like they sound. If you pay really good money to go into a show, expect it's never going to sound exactly like the record. It's going to sound pretty good in most cases. It depends on so many factors like where you're sitting, etc., etc. So don't expect a perfect show. When you get one, you're like, whoa, this sounded amazing, and people usually talk about it, but that doesn't seem to be the norm. So here's some things you should never say to a live sound mixer when they're working. Can you turn up the whatever instrument, vocal, guitar, whatever? They might have a reason why they can't turn it up, and they're battling with the mix to try to make everything work. So don't suggest any single instrument should be turned up. I think they know about it because, well, we are paid to actually monitor the mix as we're mixing, so we hear things, and you know, sometimes we can't get something out of a mix, and we're working on it, right? So anyway, one more thing never to say to a live sound person is turn up the bass. I've heard that before. Turn up the bass. Well, bass is apparently a bit of a sickness, and I don't agree with turning up the bass when the bass is probably loud enough at the mix position. And, you know, we walk around the room to make sure the bass is good in all positions where possible. It's not always going to be great all over the whole venue, but it's going to be okay. You might be standing in a spot where the bass is deficient for some reason, depending on the size of the venue. Or your taste for bass, you might want more bass where the sound mixer doesn't want more bass. The other thing is, don't shout out, turn it up, because there are noise restrictions in some venues, and you know, there's rules, like especially outside, but inside too, there's noise restrictions or loudness level caps where we're not allowed to turn things up past a certain level, depending on the venue, depending on the city, you know, like the jurisdiction, how loud things can actually be played. So we're basically limited sometimes to rules that we got to abide by. So don't just shout out, turn it up. That's usually drunk people saying that because they need more stimulation, whatever. Just, no, we're not turning it up. So those are a few things not to say to a person while they're mixing a show. You know, like I say, we're getting paid to do the best job we possibly can. And don't forget, a mix is a very personal thing. Not everyone is going to mix their coffee the same way in the morning. We all have a different idea of how much cream and sugar or lack of cream and sugar we're going to put in, what strength of coffee, how much instant you're going to put in. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just drawing a parallel there with coffee, but we all mix things on a daily basis differently. There is no exact science behind a live sound mix. There is good judgments. The 4 questions, which I mentioned before in other videos, is it loud enough? Can everybody hear? Can everybody understand? And will it feed back? We go by those questions. We're answering to ourselves. And there's going to be like an area in there where not everybody agrees on a mix. Well, too bad. If you're not getting paid to do the mix, just stay out of it. We don't want to hear it. I'm not, you know, crapping on the audience members or anything. I'm just saying, don't expect, you know, us to work miracles. Like, sometimes we can't turn the sound system up. Or in the case, sometimes we can't turn it down. So you might say, turn it down, it's really loud in here. And it's like, I already told the band themselves, they're too loud. And I can't turn the PA system up over the stage level. So we battle with the stage level compared to the front of house level. So I can't just turn the sound down. Like, I had a police officer come into a venue once because there was an unnecessary noise complaint, like a fake noise complaint, one that didn't even need to be done. What happened was the cops came in and they go, we got a noise complaint. Meanwhile, it was a bogus complaint. It was, I won't get into the details, but it had nothing to do with our club. So they came in and they bullied themselves around because some cops like to be bullies, you know, not every cop, but some, they come in and they're like stern looking, and the cop shouts at me, turn it down. I'm just like, I didn't say anything. I just turned the master fader down a bit, but when he's gone, I'm going to turn it back up, right? Because he's not going to know. But don't just shout, turn it down, right? That's a cop, right? Your audience members sometimes do that too. Turn it down, or it's too loud in here, or something like that. Well, we try our best efforts to make things sound just the right level, and sometimes artists don't cooperate. Bands, like, they turn up and they keep turning up during the show, and we just can't keep turning up the sound system above their level. And what happens is that the front of house is lower than the stage level, so things tend to get muddy. So we can't turn it up, we can't turn it down, we can't turn individual instruments up or down, and we don't want to turn the bass up or down. We're going to make all these judgments on our own. Thank you very much. And I hope this isn't turning out to be a bitching session or anything like that. I guess I don't mean it to be. I just mean that, we're at work, we're doing our job, and then we get all these suggestions from audience members, meeting planners, band managers. One time I got this. Actually, more than one time, but let's just say a few times this happened. People would walk up during a corporate presentation. Person is talking this far away from their microphone. And you can't turn it up because at that point you're turning up the HVAC system, coughs, sneezes, papers rustling, stuff like that. People noises in the background. Now you're amplifying that into the sound system, where the solution is to get the person closer to the microphone. And I'm always writing on a piece of paper, please speak directly into microphone, that type of thing. So anyway, when people come up and say, can you turn them up? I'm like, actually, I can't turn them up. Why don't you go get them to talk closer to the microphone? That's a very sensitive issue. Some companies, AV companies, don't want an operator to do that. I do it because I operate independently. And if the meeting planner says anything, I'm going to say, well, that's the only way to solve the problem. So normally they don't have an issue with me walking up and just casually sliding a piece of paper onto the podium, say, please speak directly into the microphone. The audience cannot hear you that well. So I'm going to make cards for that too. Anyway, so that has become an issue where people say, can you turn them up? And it's like, we actually can't turn them up. Get them to talk closer to the microphone. Or get a backup singer to sing closer to the microphone. Or an acoustic guitar without an amplifier on board. Get them to get a pickup. So they're not going to do it for that show, and we're going to do the best we can with the best mic we can, but we just can't work miracles. We're working with human beings. I don't know if you know, but human beings, including myself, are not perfect. We're just trying to do the best job we can. Anyway, I don't want to sound bitchy or anything, but because people say, well, Canadians are so nice, they say sorry for everything. And yeah, that's true. That's just kind of an accidental thing we do. I don't even know why we do it, but I'm not bitchy, but I'm not always the most pleasant person either. Sometimes I have an attitude. I try not to do my best. What I'm saying is I'm imperfect, just like a lot of people. Just accept when you go to a show, it sounds like it sounds. Write it off as a bad sounding show if you don't like it, but there's many factors that go into it. And again, we're monitoring the situation. We're getting paid to mix. We don't all have the same experience. So kind of a crapshoot. Just accept that some shows sound better than others. And please subscribe and have a great day. Rosie, what are you doing? Don't sit in the gas pedal.